Biden's floating the idea of doing something new, and no, he's not going to be progressive. So here's the thing. The Democrats are not doing another relief bill as it goes, apparently. And what they're trying to do now is an infrastructure bill. And it's going to cost between $2.5 and $3 trillion. And so, obviously, they got to find a way to pay for it. And Democrats are saying, some Democrats foolishly are saying, oh, we should raise taxes, the income tax everywhere across the board. And a lot of other Democrats are saying, well, some of them are saying, no, don't do that, you idiots, that'll cost us in the midterms. So, I'll just come up right away and say, yes, I'll come out right away and say, yes, it will affect you in the midterms. Absolutely, because no freaking American during a pandemic when they're not working wants their taxes raised. I don't know. I know y'all earn $175,000, $180,000, in Congress and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, tens of millions, whatever it is, on your side deals with all the corporations and things like that. But those of us who are not working during the pandemic, who are unfortunate enough to have lost our jobs, we don't have money to pay your taxes, okay? Okay, now that I've gone on that rant. One of their other things they're floating is raising taxes on the very rich, on the wealthiest Americans in our country. And so, here's the thing. Progressives are mad at Joe Biden. Obviously, I've railed against the squad. Obviously, I've railed against Biden this week. So they're mad because he didn't do a he didn't do a $15 minimum wage. He didn't do a recurring check. He took down the unemployment from 400 to 300 because of Joe Manchin, and he didn't raise it to 600 at least. And he didn't do anything else. So, okay, so the centrists won the last time, and of course they did because Joe Biden's a Republican and he thinks like one. So let's go. So progressives are trying to weakly and meekly fight him and push him to the left. You're never gonna push him left, you idiots, freaking dumbasses. You're pretty much never, ever, ever gonna push Joe Biden left. Okay, now that I've said that, they want him to tax the richest Americans. And I don't know. I kind of agree with that, right? So they want to increase the income tax or any kind of taxes on anyone making over $400,000 plus, so $500 or whatever. Now look, when Obama was running for office in 2008, he was saying anyone over $100,000, anyone over $200, $250, things like that. Now it's $400 plus. So here's the real deal. I'm going to give you the politics of this issue. Number one, they have not gotten rid of the filibuster. I just did a video on Joe Biden, not wanting to get rid of the filibuster, but to reform it to the talking filibuster, which would be okay because, there's no way that Republicans are going to be able to filibuster as much as they want to, as much as they actually could or would, if they just did a traditional, oh, we say we're going to filibuster, but we're not actually going to talk. So they are trying to make it more painful, but then they need 60 votes to actually stop it and actually put the things up for a vote. They need 60 votes. They don't have 60 votes, okay, to go into cloture. They don't, and cloture is, that, exactly. So they're never going to get this through. And there's a couple reasons why, not only because of the filibuster. Well, because they won't really get rid of the filibuster, even though they can. Republicans do it all the time. You need at least 9 to 10 Republicans to vote. Because look, you got 50 Democrats. Now, Kamala Harris joins, you got 51. So, okay, how about 9 Republicans? You're not going to get that. They all voted against the COVID relief bill. All of them. So, forgive me if I'm saying there's no way they're all going to vote to raise taxes on their very donors, the very people who the Democrats are railing against. Sorta, in a kind of meekly cuck way. Okay? They're cucks. They're suckers. So, there you go. You're not going to get not even one Republican. even those that claim to be populists, right? Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley, Republican Josh Hawley, Republican Marco Rubio from Florida, he's never going to go, oh, yes, I'm going to be a populist and vote to raise taxes. No! I'm saying they only kept up the populist rhetoric under Trump because they wanted to be a little bit of an antithesis to him, even though they were never. They cucked up to him all the time. But they wanted to kind of be that, hey, remember when I run for president in the future, you guys remember pretty much what I did. There's no way that they're going to do it, right? So, now they're trying to be opposition to Biden, so they can't really play up that populist rhetoric. You saw them vote against the minimum wage, like the amendment that Bernie put up. They didn't really care. It was just a cop-out. It was just, I kind of do agree with it for political purposes, but I don't really want to raise your wages. So you're never going to get a Republican to vote. And this is why I say get rid of the goddamn filibuster. Because if you don't get rid of the damn filibuster, you're never going to get anywhere. Okay, now, here's number 2. The reason it won't happen. Curstin Cinima and Curstin Cinima and Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is never going to, as one of the most conservative Democrats in the U.S. Senate, the United States Senate, he's never going to come out and say, oh, I want to tax the billionaires and the millionaires, the ultra millionaires and billionaires. Never. And neither is Curstin Cinima. They just voted against recurring checks. They just voted against the minimum wage, raising the minimum wage at all. They just voted against $2,000 checks. They just forced Biden to lower unemployment from 400 to 300 instead of raising it to 5 or 600. So there you go, right? So it's just never going to happen because of that, right? If you have two people who are never going to allow their donors to ever get taxed and pay their fair share of taxes, I mean, come on, right? No, never. Now, here's the other thing about it. There's a couple more. I'm sorry, it's a long video, I get it. You've got, the corporate tax rate at 21%. I guarantee you most businesses, by the time they do all their deductions and corporate loopholes and crap like that, they've already paid a net zero. So they're not paying actual taxes into the tax system. They're not paying in. And when right-wingers say, oh, did you know they pay at least 40% or more of taxes or 70%? Yeah, I don't know, maybe because they're the ones with the majority of the money in the country? So, hello? Gee, I wonder why. I don't know why people defend the rich so much. But anyway. So, and excuse the noise. I have a brother here who's playing this game for no reason. You've got, a corporate rate of 21%. Biden would only raise it to 28%. Notice how he's cucking out again. Again. It was at 35% in the pre-Trump era under Obama. And look, to be honest, again, with all the corporate loopholes and deductions and escapes and routes and all of that, and offshoring of tax dollars and profits and money that the rich do, they were not paying most of that. Most of them were paying zero or negative zero. I know, you're like, how do you get to negative zero? When you're rich and you have fancy accountants, you do. Okay, you do it. So Biden, he's not even raising it to what it was under Obama. This just shows he's a major freaking cuck, and he's never going to do it. It's all incremental. 7%? Really, Biden? You're only going to raise it 7%. You're not going to raise it anymore. Anymore. Are you sure? Because the country wants you to do it. So he's not going to raise it another 15% or whatever it is. So on paper, okay, so hold on. It's like he won't even do it. But on paper, this is great. It's all academic. But in real life, you guys, don't expect anything. And I saw some comments on Kyle Kalinski's video on Secular Talk. And one of them said, it's why you can't reap I don't care if you tax the rich if we don't reap any of the benefits. And that's true. Okay, you're going to tax the rich, but you're not doing any progressive policies. No housing for all, no jobs for all, no college for all, No, no housing, no jobs, no college for all, no forgiving student debt, no Medicare for all, no forgiving medical debt. You're not ending the wars. You're not, you're not capping the interest rates to 12.5%. You're not doing any of that. And this is where everyone always says, I'll believe it when I see it, okay? Moving on. Because, to the next point, which is Biden, again, backed off of recurring checks, the $15 minimum wage. He lowered unemployment. He backed off of $2,000 checks, went to $1,400 checks. So he obviously isn't going to do this. It's going to fall. Of course, they won't get rid of the filibuster. There's no way they're going to get 60 votes. They'll barely get 50, I'm going to be honest, with Curstin Cinima and Joe Manchin. But this is where you have the oligarchs and the billionaires and the neoliberal class, the establishment class, trying to commingle with the everyday people, and it's not going to work. You got to get rid of one. And you got to limit them because they control. You could raise their taxes, but they control our politics. They control our government. They control the policies. They control our systems, our entire institutions. They control it, and our government and our politicians let them. And all the idiots who vote Democrat or Republican, you let them too. So, again, this looks great on paper, but it's never going to happen in real life. You're never going to get a bunch of Democratic hacks and phonies like the progressives and corporate tools like the Republicans. Because I could have gone in and said, oh, the Republicans are corporate tools because they're never going to vote for this. Sure, but you're never going to get a bunch of Democratic tools to ever vote for this anyway. I mean, they could do it if they just got rid of the filibuster. Just saying, they could do it if they got rid of the filibuster. But okay, that is the tax update, and we'll just have to see what happens.